It's that time of year. Love is in the air. Let me show you 10 Dollar Tree Valentine's Day crafts.
I've got this 4x6 frame, and then I've got these hearts. They're little wooden cutout hearts, and some jute twine. And then I've got the little mini clothespins also. I'm going to go ahead and take apart the frame. We don't need the inside except for I'm going to use it to cut out the shape on a piece of, it's actually the back of a gift box that I got from Dollar Tree. Just going to go ahead and cut that out. And then I'm just going to make sure that it fits right over that back piece of the frame. I'm going to take my ink chalk paint by Waverly, and I'm going to paint the whole frame in black. The sides, around the edges, but not the back. Don't need to do the back at all. And it only takes one coat since the frame is on the darker side to begin with. I'm going to take this Sunny Days pack of scrapbook paper that I got at Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to pick this piece. It's really pretty with the pink kind of stripes. And I'm going to trace out that shape that I had cut out on the back of the gift box. I'm going to take my Jot glue stick from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to generously put that on there, and I'm going to attach the piece of scrapbook paper that I cut out. And I like to do it in sections. That way it doesn't move around too much. I can just kind of secure it at the one end and then attach the rest. I'm going to use my brayer to make sure that that has full contact. Then I'm just going to take my scissors and trim off any excess around the edges that I might have gotten, because I tend to cut things a little bigger on purpose. I'm going to take some Mod Podge, and I'm going to cover the whole frame in that. Now I'm going to take that jute twine, and I'm just going to hot glue it to the back top corner of the piece that's going to be inside the frame. And then I'm going to pull it down because I'm going to be hanging some things from it, and I'm going to attach it on the other side on the back as well. And that way I can cut the exact size piece that I need. Got those little wooden hearts I mentioned, and I'm going to peel off the little stickers on the back. We don't need them. And I'm going to attach them with the clothespins to the little jute twine. I started off with all red, and then I thought, you know what? I think those little pink glittery ones would look really pretty too. So I replaced the two red ones on either end, and I did that with the pink instead. Now I'm just going to place the pieces back inside the frame. First the piece with the little hearts hanging, and then the backing so it has its stand. I'm just going to kind of arrange them and make sure they're sitting just the way I like, and that's it. I think this one is adorable. You'll have to let me know what you think. I love it. It's one of my favorites from today's video, and I hope that it's yours too.
Every change has a reason, baby.
Found this super cute wood sign at the Dollar Tree. It's actually two pieces, and then I've got this little canvas bag from the Dollar Tree, which we're going to cut out a heart from that. So you see how the two pieces come apart? I thought that was really clever. Now for our craft, we're going to end up putting them together. So I'm just going to fussy cut out this little heart that says adore in the middle. I thought it was a really pretty heart, and that it would look really cute with this wood decor piece. And at first I thought I would keep that little clothespin on there that they have in the print, but I did end up cutting that right off. The easiest way to fussy cut, if you're not sure, is just to move the item around rather than moving the scissors, and that really helps control all those little fine cuts that you need to make. Now we're going to position it at the top of the right side of the darker heart. And I'm going to use the other one to kind of hold it in place while we glue it. I'm going to use some Beacon fabric tack glue. The reason I chose this is that it's clear for one thing, and it dries pretty quickly, but you can reposition. And I just didn't think hot glue was the best choice for this one. You could also use Elmer's glue. I don't think I would use a glue stick though. I feel like there were too many folds in this canvas bag that would have been hard to get it to lay flat. And with the moisture in the fabric tack glue, that also helps it to lay down a little bit better. I'm going to take my brayer, just roll over the top, try to make sure that it's making the best contact possible. And you can see there that it's hanging over the edge at the bottom. It doesn't fit exactly on there, but we're just going to put that on a mat upside down with a utility knife and just cut off the excess. Very, very easy. Now we're going to put the two pieces together. And I decided to glue them together because I don't want it to move around. You don't have to do this. It was just a preference that I had. So I'm just going to put some hot glue inside there, set it down, hold it together for a moment, and there you go. I've got a white rose and a red carnation, and I'm going to make them a little smaller by removing some of the petals from the bottom. It was a little big and covered the words. So this is a little trick. If you want to have a flower, but it's just a little too big, just cut off some of those petals. Now I'm going to take the flower, kind of squish it back together, and now you see it's smaller. I'm going to cut off the very back petal, or pull apart this flower and take off the very back petal, and I'm going to add it to the white flower with some hot glue. Just put it right through the hole, and then I will just glue the whole thing on, and that way I've got a little bit of red and white. I'm also going to cut a couple of leaves, put them on there, and then add the third leaf back, but where I want it, because I don't want it to cover anything else up. Now, if I had smaller flowers to begin with, I would have used those, but at the moment I did not, and I thought this turned out so cute. It was extremely fast and easy. Honestly, this came together so quickly. I love it, and I hope that you do too, so let me know what you think. Cute little teeny frame. It looks like it's like a place card for a wedding or something. And I've got 2 Jenga blocks, I've got 2 beads, and then I've got 4 little hearts, and I'm just going to use all those. You can get little heart cutouts at Dollar Tree or any of the craft stores. I'm going to paint the 2 Jenga blocks white, but one of them I need to cut down. I want it to be slightly smaller, so I'm just going to kind of draw a line and use my miter shears. I get those from Amazon, and I'm just going to cut it. Now, it's a little thick, so you've got to really push, and sometimes I just turn it over and do it from the other side as well, and then I kind of pull it off, and that worked out great. And then I sanded the end. I am going to take a piece of tape and put all these little pieces on there so they don't move around. So I'm going to paint the bigger heart red. I'm going to paint the littler hearts in this pink acrylic paint. And like I said, the Jenga blocks in the white. Now I'm going to take the little frame apart. And I'm going to paint the backing in the pink. Now I'm not going to worry about those 2 little screws that the stand is on because they'll be covered. So I'm going to add Mod Podge over the top once that dries. Now once the Mod Podge is dry, I'm going to put that piece back in the frame and just push down the little clips so that it's nice and secure. Now I'm going to take the larger Jenga block, put a little bit of glue towards the bottom of that inside, and add the smaller one just next to it. So it's like a man and a woman couple, so I figure the man's probably taller, and I'm going to add a little bead head to each one with some hot glue. This is going to be so cute. Then I'm going to take some twine, I'm going to attach it on the back with hot glue, and I'm going to do like an X back and forth, wrapping it around. I just want to give it kind of that cute little, almost rustic look, even though it's got the bolder colors on there. I just think this is so cute with the twine. Now that I've got that on there the way I like, I'm just going to cut it off and attach it to the back with a little bit of hot glue. I'm going to put some hot glue right in the center of that X, and I'm going to add the little red heart. Now I'm going to add hot glue to the twine and the back of each of the heads, because that's the part that sticks out the most. And I'm going to place it right in the center of the frame, and that covers up those little screws that hold the stand on. Now I'm going to take those little pink hearts that I painted, and I'm going to put one in each corner, kind of facing up towards the corner. And I think that is just such a cute little accent. I had these in my stash. They must have come with something else that I purchased, and I thought, oh, I got to use them. They are so cute. And that's really it for this one. It was very easy. You could put names on it if you want, or you could just leave it as it is, but I just think it's so sweet and just how fun for Valentine's.
Every change has a reason. Baby, let it come to you.
Had this Wi-Fi Sweet Wi-Fi sign in my stash for so long, I knew I'd eventually use it. And then I've got some window clings that were left over from a set I had already used. I'm going to go ahead and take the hanger off of this one. Comes off very easily, and we can reuse it later. And I've got some pink vinyl. You can actually get this at Dollar Tree. This one might have been from Cricut. I just wanted to use whatever I had handy. And I'm going to cut out a piece to cover the bottom little part of the heart, and then another piece to cover the top. We're not going to use this as a Wi-Fi sign, although it's very cute. I'm just going to use another large piece, cut that off, and then I will turn this over, put it on a mat, and with a blade, I'm going to cut off the excess. So what I like to do when I put the vinyl on or contact paper is just start on one side and then slowly pull off the backer paper and smooth it down. And often you can just lift it up if you get a little bubble and you can see it. And then I'll just finish all the way to the top, and then I can cut off the excess. So I'm cutting off the bigger portion of it, and then I'll go back in with that utility knife and get the fine edges. For some reason, my sandpaper was not doing a good job on this one. It might be because it was Cricut vinyl. It's a little bit thicker than Dollar Tree. I know with Dollar Tree you can use a sanding block to go ahead and just sand that right off the edges, but also the utility knife works just fine. It is actually a little bit faster. Now I'm going to take this cute little camper and I'm going to put it right in the center. I just think it's adorable. And whether you're into camping or glamping or whatever, it doesn't matter. This is just a cute little piece. And I'm going to put a couple of these little hearts on there as well that I had left over from one of the window cling sheets that I had from Dollar Tree. I'm going to take a white paint marker, and where the hashtag is, I'm going to write, I love you. I thought that was so cute to say hashtag, I love you. And I just took my time so that my writing was neat. And then there was a space at the end that just bothered me, so I drew a little heart and then I fill it in. And I just think it was a cute little addition, not necessary, but I just wanted to do it. Now I'm going to poke through where the holes were again, because obviously we lost it there with the vinyl over the top. I'm going to make sure that the paint marker is dry using my heat tool. And then I'm just going to put the hanger right back in because there was nothing wrong with it and we might as well use it. This was such an easy little piece to put together, and I just think it turned out adorable. You'll have to let me know what you think. I think that this would be fun to even do with kids or grandkids. I think they would really enjoy doing this. Let me know what you think. Found this super cute little heart. It says all you need is love, and the back side was blank, and we're going to make this a two-sided heart. You know I love to do that. And I got this canvas bag again, and we're going to cut out two of the hearts, one that says love and one that says be mine on it. And I thought this would be a really cute combination to add to the back side of this little shelf sitter. Now once I cut them out, I will go around and fussy cut, just moving the heart around as I cut, and I will cut off those little clothespin pieces because we're not going to use those. At first, I thought I was going to use them, and then I changed my mind, so I will go ahead and cut that off. Have you ever seen these little canvas bags at the Dollar Tree? You know, it's one of those things where you might not think that you could just cut them up and use them for things, but I've done it in the past, and I do like the way it looked. Now I'm going to get the sticker off the back. This was one of those times where it just didn't want to come off, so I had to use my heat tool and a spatula, and then some Goo Gone to get rid of the sticky stuff. I don't know what the deal was with this sign, but once in a while they just get really difficult. Anyway, we got it off. I'm going to use some burnt umber acrylic paint by Apple Barrel, and I buy those at Walmart. I'm just going to cover the back side only. Now I'm going to position the hearts where I would like them, and I'm going to use Beacon Fabric Tack glue to do that. I find that for these canvas pieces, this type of glue works very well because you can reposition it. It doesn't leave lumps behind, and it does have moisture that helps it kind of soak in a little bit and really stick to the surface. Now for the second one, I got smarter and I just put it on the back and then laid it down instead of trying to position it and go around the edges. Either way works. I just wanted to try both ways and see what I liked better. So I still needed to get in there and, add some more glue to it because it wasn't quite getting to the edges. But that's just because I didn't want to get it all over my hands when I picked it up. Now I'm going to use my brayer, roll all around it, and make it best contact that I can. And then I'm going to put some Mod Podge over the top and seal this whole thing in. And I'll put it on the entire back side of this piece. I'm going to take some hot glue and a little bit of twine, and I'm just going to go around the edge of the heart all the way and just adhere that, and it'll be a nice little piece of trim. It will also make this side look a lot different than the other side, which is what I was going for. Now I'm going to take that same twine and I'm just going to make a little shoestring bow. I'm going to hot glue that to the very bottom, right where those hearts meet. And I'll also tack down the little tails so that they lay exactly where I want. I'm going to take this red ribbon, and it had hearts on it, but the biggest heart was glittery and I didn't want glitter on this, so I just cut it out, turned it over, and hot glued it right to the center of the bow. And that's all there was to this, and now I've got a nice little two-sided sign. Let me know what you think. I really like how it turned out. The 2025 Dollar Tree calendar. It's called Love the Little Things, and I'm actually going to use the picture that is on the cover, but I'm going to use it from that particular month. Isn't that beautiful, that mason jar? I'm going to take this Dollar Tree canvas that I found, and I'm just going to put it over the top and figure out exactly where I want to cut out the piece. I'm going to trace a pencil around, and then I will go ahead and cut that out. Super easy, and you can do this with any calendar page that you want or anything that you want. I've got this thing cut up. I'm going to take some Mod Podge, and I'm just going to put some across the top first. I like to position whatever piece I'm going to put onto a surface at the top or the side first. That way it's already in place when I put the rest of it on, and I only have to move a little bit if I set it improperly. So there you go. And now I'm just going to go ahead and complete the rest of it by adding Mod Podge and going all the way down to the other end, and I'll make sure I smooth it down. And once I have the rest of it on there, I will also use my brayer to smooth out any wrinkles or bubbles. That is a tool that I just don't think I could live without. If you have a brayer, let me know. And if you have a favorite one, let me know. The ones that I use, I got on Amazon. They're always in my Amazon store, but I love them because they have metal handles, and then the roller is really nice and easy to clean. So I prefer something a little heavier versus the plastic ones that are out there, but that's just a personal preference. Let me know what you guys prefer. I'm sure we all have different ways of looking at that. Now I'm going to add a layer of Mod Podge over the top to seal this in. Now you could stop right there. It's beautiful. But I'm going to take some faux florals and I'm just going to attach them to where the flowers are on the calendar page and bring this to life and create a three-dimensional piece. Now, if you've been watching my channel for a little while, you know how much I love 3D. And so I love to do that wherever I can. I mean, I probably don't do it every single time, but I do it quite often. I just think it makes the piece more unique and just kind of jumps off the page at you, like a 3D thing would. And it just feels more alive to me. Anyway, I really like it. And I love some of these florals. And you can find really cheap looking faux flowers, or you can also find some really nice ones, and you have to be really picky and choosy about it. But you know what? Once you find them, they're really, really nice to use, and they're inexpensive. Or you could go to Michael's and spend a lot more money, but you will get a much higher quality. And I do love those too. Now, once I get the flowers on there, I am going to add some different leaves just for texture. I'm just going to kind of cut some up that came on different picks that I think would look nice, and I'll tuck them under with the hot glue and just put them wherever I like. And then I found a spot where I thought I needed another little flower. Now I'm going to add some other little stems and greenery pieces just to give it more interest, because you don't want to use all the same things. Sometimes by mixing them up, it just creates a really beautiful piece, and there's so much to look at. Now we're just going to take a little piece of twine, glue it on the back with some masking tape, and create our hanger. And that is it. You could also put this in a frame if you want. Honestly, my videos are just for inspiration. You can do these things any way that you want, or it might just spark a brand new idea for you. That's what happens to me when I look at things. Anyway, I hope you like it. Let me know what you think. this really cute 3.5 by 5 frame that has a little tag on the bottom. And then I've got this tote bag that I got, and I've used a little bit of it before, and I just love it. I'm going to take the frame apart, and of course that tag was right over there, so I have to peel that off as best as I can. Now I'm going to take that little piece of cardboard, and I'm just going to hold it over the heart that I want to use on that tote bag, and then I'm just going to cut that out bigger than it really is, and then I'll trim it in just a minute. I'm going to take the backing of the frame, and I'm just going to place it on there right where I want it, and then I'll just with a pencil quickly trace around it so that I can cut that out and get exactly the right size that I need. And I thought this particular heart looked really good with this color of frame. I'm going to put some Mod Podge on that backing there. Now you notice I put a little Dollar Tree sticker on there that says, "Will you?" And what I didn't realize when I took it out is that it had like a blue background. And so I didn't even show you that I put it on there because I'm going to take it off, and you're going to see that in just a minute. Anyway, I have got these little teeny hearts made out of wood that are cut out. So you can get these at most craft stores. I'm just going to hot glue them right inside that little tag area. And that's when I realized I can't handle that thing with the blue on it. So I took it off. I've got these cute little off-white flowers. I'm just going to pull them off the pick, and then this beautiful rose. And I'm just going to hot glue the green backing. It came off, and then there was 3 leaves, and it covered the picture, so I cut one of the leaves off. That's what I like about pulling picks apart, is you can make them fit any way that you want. So I'm just going to go ahead and hot glue that right on there, and then I'm going to take that rose and put it right there in the center. And then I cut up those little baby flowers. I'm just going to stick them in all around, one on each side and one towards the bottom. Now once I have those in there, I've got this other pick. I think it's like a boxwood pick. I'm just going to cut it in half, and I'm going to put one on each side just to give it a little more texture and interest. I like mixing up the different picks and florals. I just think it makes it more interesting to look at. Now I've got a red marker from Dollar Tree that's almost out of ink, but that was perfect because I barely wanted it to have a little red on those little wooden hearts. So I just put that on there, and it was just the perfect shade. It actually kind of matches the center of that flower. So anyway, I love this one. Let me know what you think. It's a little more rustic, but I think it's so cute. Take this 4x6 frame. And then I've got a little bit of a smaller size brush and some watercolors from Crafter Square. And then I've got my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint. I'm going to take the frame apart, and we're not going to need the glass. What I'm going to do is take a piece of foam board, and I'm going to take that little paper that comes in it, and I'm just going to trace that on the foam board so that I can cut out that shape. So that's what I'm going to be putting inside of the frame instead of the glass. I'm just going to take my cutter from Amazon. It's got a nice ergonomically correct handle, which I love, and I'm just going to cut off the 2 edges from where I traced that shape. I'm going to take some Mod Podge, and I'm just going to cover the whole side that I'm going to use. And once that dries, I'm going to take that red watercolor paint. I'm just going to add a little bit of water to it, and I'm going to mix it up. And what I'm going to start doing is just creating little hearts, all different shapes, sizes, and directions on this foam board. And I want you to see the brush strokes in it. So I go back over them. If there's any like break in it, you'll see when I do that, because I want it to be kind of like a continuous line, like right at what I just did there. And I'm going to put them all over, like I said, different sizes and shapes. Now I'm going to add some white paint to that red paint. I'm going to, water it down a bit and lighten it up, and I'm going to do some more hearts. Now they didn't come out quite as light as I was hoping, so I'm going to go back over them with some of the white paint and kind of blend it in, and I really love that look. It almost gives it like kind of a texturized look. So once I get them all in there, I will cover that with Mod Podge. I'm going to take my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint, and I'm going to paint the entire frame except for the very back. I'll dry that with my heat tool from Amazon. I'm going to put some Mod Podge over the frame. Now I'm just going to place it in the frame, and then I'll also put the stand back inside in case I decide I want to stand it up. And I'll just secure the little tabs. I love how it looks, but I did decide to add a hanger. I've got this really beautiful heart ribbon from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to cut a piece, attach it to the back on both sides, And then I do like to add a little teeny piece of masking tape over that, just as an extra bit of security. It just seems to kind of like melt together when you do that. So I'll just add some more hot glue and add the tape. And really, that's it. This one is beautiful. And I saw something similar to this on Pinterest, and that's what inspired me. And I just love the random look of the hearts. I think it's so pretty. It kind of looks like a print, even though I just drew them on there myself. And they don't have to be perfect. So I hope you'll try this one.
Every change has a reason, baby.
Boss Babe 2025 monthly calendar. I love it. It's got some really pretty pages, lots of pink, and I'm going to use this XOXO page. I thought it was so cute. I've got this little set of 3 mini Dollar Tree canvases, which I am loving, and I'm going to take them and kind of measure on this calendar page where I can cut out 3 of them, and I want to make sure that one of them has those black XOXOs in it because that's going to be like our centerpiece, and then I can just cut around the rest of it and find enough space for the other 2. And then I'll go ahead and trim those out. Now you can use a paper cutter for this if you want. And I probably should because I feel like I don't cut straight. I'm not sure why. Well, it could be I'm actually legally blind in one eye, fun fact, and then we believe that's from birth. So I don't see things 100% straight. So if you ever see me cutting crooked or something's a little off center, that is why. I don't do it on purpose. It's because I cannot actually tell. Anyway, I don't want to see the backside of that calendar page, and because this background is white, you could. So I'm going to tape off the ends all around the edges of all of these pieces, and then I'm going to paint black in the middle, and that will just take care of that entire problem because the lines and the numbers and so forth on the back of the calendar page are black, and that's one way you can camouflage so you don't see it through when it's a white front side of it. I think you know what I mean. So I'm just going to go ahead, make sure that's on there really well, and paint the centers of all 3 of these. Very easy. And yes, you could use like a brown or a navy blue, whatever. But I know for a fact black will work, and so I'm going to do it, and it's going to come out just perfect when it's all done. You don't have to worry about a heavy coat or anything because it's just to camouflage the back side of the calendar. So just pull off the tape when that's done and repeat the same process on the other 2. Now I'm going to take some Mod Podge and I'm going to just place some on there. This is a small piece, so it's easy to maneuver, so I can go ahead and put the Mod Podge on the whole thing. I don't have to worry about just placing it at the top. So then I will put it on there, try to center it the best I can, and use my brayer to secure it. Then I'm going to add a layer of Mod Podge over the top to seal this in, and that way it'll look really nice and cohesive when all 3 pieces are the same. So there we go. Now I'm going to add a hanger to each one. I'm just going to use a little piece of twine. You could use a soda can top. You could also use that metal piece from a clothespin. Whatever you want for a hanger, I just happened to grab some twine because it was very easy to do. And then I always like to do the hot glue and a little bit of masking tape to secure them. You know, this is going to be such a cute little piece. You could arrange it up and down, or you could arrange it sideways, whatever you want, or different designs. I just think it's so fun and cute. And actually, I think this would be really cute around Valentine's, but you could use it anytime. Let me know what you think.
I'm starting with this Beware Halloween sign from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to sand off all of that glitter. Now this is going to be the back of my sign, but I don't want any of it falling off and getting on my workspace, especially once I start painting. After I finish sanding, I'm going to use my little ladybug vacuum from Amazon, and I'm going to clean up all the little sanding dust, and boy does that do a great job. I'll put a link in the description if you need one. I'm going to put some craft paper on the back just to finish it off. So I got the craft paper at Dollar Tree. And now on the front, I removed the little ribbon that held up the sign. I'm going to fill in those holes with some wood putty, and once I get that sufficiently filled, I'm going to sand that down and make it nice and smooth. I'm going to use the Waverly paint in the plaster color to paint my sign. I'm going to use a chip brush that I picked up at Dollar Tree, and then I'm going to distress it with Apple Barrel's burnt umber paint that I got at Walmart. The reason I wanted to use a chip brush is that I want it to look like wood, and because of the bristles being the way they are, if I finish it off with the bristles all going in the one direction, which is going to be long ways, it will give kind of that sense of wood grain. Now I want to create the effect of planks or pieces of wood going across like shiplap. So I'm using my square right now and I'm determining how wide they're going to be, and I'm going to match them up with the little edges that kind of are already scalloped to look like separate pieces of wood. I drew them on with a pencil and then I used an old black marker so that it would kind of go on lighter and just went over those lines. And I didn't do it perfect on purpose because I want it to look like wood. And now I'm using the burnt umber. I'm going to go around all the edges and then I'm going to go around those lines and then over the middle as I think it's needed. And I'm doing dry brushing where you put just a little bit on your brush, wipe most of it off, and then lightly place it on the project. A lot of different kinds of love, and the most important kind of love I think is the kind that God has for us. So this sign is going to be inspired by that. And I printed this out on my Cricut, and the words are love came down, meaning God came down to us as a human and wanted to be with us and show us his love. And to me, that is the best kind of love there is. There is no love here on earth that's better than that. And that is what my sign's all about. I have to laugh because I realized the word down was up. So I picked it up. Luckily I cut them apart and I made sure it was in line with the other words. I had this garland left from Christmas time that I hadn't used, and I thought it's not really specifically Christmassy, so I wrapped it around both ends. I actually ended up just doing the front after because it wouldn't lay on the wall flat, so I ended up cutting that one side, and on the other side I just cut the pieces ahead of time, and I hot glued them on the back. I'm going to cover those edges with some cute ribbon, and then I'm going to add a hanger out of nautical rope. I'm just going to tie a knot on each side. I'm going to hot glue it in the back, and then off camera you don't see it, but I ended up putting some Gorilla like heavy duty tape over the two sides, not over the ribbon but next to it, because that's a long sign and I didn't want any pressure to be put on. I wanted to stay in place. I'm super happy with how this came out. I just love what it stands for, what it means, and I love the way it looks. I hope you guys like it. House shape piece at Dollar Tree. Now I somehow didn't film me removing the flowers and painting it with plaster colored chalk paint. Now I use my Cricut to cut out these heart shapes using some scrapbook paper. So I used some painter's tape to kind of decide where I'm going to place them. I wanted 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom, and then I'm going to put some words in between. Now that everything is placed, I'm going to Mod Podge them on. I use my Cricut to print out the words Home Sweet Home, and this is before I got the new transfer tape, so I'm using my painter's tape here, and I'm attaching that right in the center between the sets of hearts. And this went on really nice and easy, and it was a cute little font. And you wouldn't have to have a Cricut to do anything like this. You could use stickers, you could use the transfer type of letters where you rub them on, or you could even use a paint marker or a marker to do this if you have writing that you're comfortable with. And I did put a little Mod Podge over the top to seal it. I don't think I always will do that, but I did this time, mostly because there was already Mod Podge on there. I found some ends of painter sticks I had used from a different project. I was using my cool little miter shears. I'll link that in the description. That is one of my favorite tools so far, by the way. I don't know how I worked without it before. And I'm trying to create a roof. So I'm figuring out the angle and the shapes, and I'm using my pencil to draw some lines until I finally get it shaped the way I want it. I'm going to sand the edges where I cut just to kind of smooth them off so that there aren't any little rough sides. And then I'm going to get my hot glue gun out and I'm going to attach them to the top. I'm going to stain the roof pieces with the Burnt Umber by Apple Barrel. You know, I used to use the Antique Wax by Waverly, but then I couldn't find it anywhere, so I switched to the Burnt Umber. And I'm actually really liking how it works. You just kind of wipe off the excess. And then I decided it wasn't really dark enough and matched with the other decor, so I added some of the ink-colored Waverly paint to it just to darken it up a bit. And I'm also going to do a very small amount of dry brushing around the sides and the front, just so it matches with the other decor pieces that I have where it's going to be sitting. Something I did off camera was I took a very, very lightly damp baby wipe and I kind of wiped over the top of the distressing and it smoothed it in a little bit and it made it look, there it is right there, it made it look a little more natural. Now I know everyone's going to be shocked when I say I feel like it needed something more, but it did. So I did a 3-strand cord and I cut it and made a little shoestring bow out of it. I love doubling and tripling up the twine. Gives it such a neat look and texture. And I literally just made this cute little bow, pulled all the little loops out, cut the edges so that they were the same length, and I hot glued it right to the center, you know, where the top of the roof meets. And I think that just totally finished this one off. It's so cute. It can be for Valentine's or it could be for any time of the year. Please let me know what you think in the comments.
Are you ready for more inspiration? I've got another video here I think you will really like. Click on it. I will see you there. You are truly a blessing to me. Bye.